Hi everyone, it's Danny. Welcome back to my channel and another design team layout for the Confessions of a Paper Addict cut files. I am working with the brand new Garden Life cut file today. Virginia is going to be releasing a new cut file every day this month, so I definitely recommend checking the description box for the link to the Facebook group if you want to keep up to date with everything that's being released, because there's going to be a lot and they're absolutely stunning. Just a little spoiler for you. So this is a beautiful cut file to use as a background, and that's pretty much what I'm going to do today. So you can see that I have cut that on white cardstock, and then I have cut out all the backing in vellum. So what I did is in my Silhouette Studio, I went through and released the compound path on the cut file, and I just deleted all the little inside pieces and just left the outer outline for all the flowers and leaves. I didn't back the little ladybugs with vellum because I am going to do that with cardstock. So you can see here I'm going to back the little head and all the spots with just a plain black cardstock. And then the pattern paper that I'm using there, the pink and red kind of geometric print, is from the Pebbles Hey Hello collection that I have just scraps left of now. So I'm going to use mostly that on this layout. My background paper will be from another collection because I am completely out of 12 by 12 paper from that collection now. I'm just going through and backing all the little spots in black. And you can see I've got a little floating one there. So on this cut file, there is one floating spot on the lady beetles. So just bear that in mind when you're peeling everything off your mat, that you don't lose those little spots. So there we go, he is backed, and then I'll just pop in his extra spot right there. And I went ahead and did all those, and I also backed all the centers of the flowers in yellow. And I mainly did that so that I could have somewhere to add adhesive for this vellum without it showing through. So if you've ever worked with vellum before, you'll know that adhesive does show through if you put it somewhere that you can see it. So I am just using that center of the flower to hide my adhesive. So I'm just adding some tacky glue to the center and gluing down my vellum to the back of the cut file that way. And just be aware that wet glue will make the vellum curl up in almost every case that I've used wet glue. If you don't want that to happen, use tape or some other dry adhesive. But I wanted that to happen. So you can see I'm not gluing down every center of each flower. I'm only doing every third or so one, because I want that effect. I want there to be dimension. I want the vellum to curl up underneath the cut file and create like an extra layer that you can see. I don't want it stuck straight flat to the back of the cut file. So cutting out that vellum on my Silhouette definitely saved me a lot of time backing that cut file, and it gives a really soft, pretty effect, especially when you use it on a dark background like I am going to do this dark green leafy pattern paper from Rosie Studio Indigo Mist. So that is all I used from that collection. I just needed a background paper, and I really love the green. It really goes with the whole garden theme that I'm going with here. So yeah, if I tried a lighter background, I actually off camera I tried like a pale mint background, and you just can't see the vellum. It just looks like you have a white cut file. So if you want to use the vellum, I definitely suggest using a darker background. So this is my photo. It's my sweet little daughter on the swing at the park. It's her favorite thing in the world, and she's got a huge smile on her face. So it's just a really sweet photo. So I am going to I just added some white, thin border of white paper, and now I'm going through with some of the scraps from the collection to create some layers behind my photo. So I'm just taking one of the branding strips and piecing together a photo mat. Well, most of a photo mat, that's all it would do, but I'm fine with that. I kind of like irregular matting anyway, so I am just going to go through with my scissors and distress all those edges. And then I've got some 6x6 papers that aren't part of that Pebbles collection. I just chucked them in with my homemade kit. So that's one of those. It's just a pale mint. Just creating another layer, and I'm just going to go through and do that with a few different patterns and colors. Bit of pink here. So I'm just going to go through and tear the edges of some of these layers just to create a little bit more dimension and texture. And I am just using wet glue. You could use tape. I just find the wet glue is a little bit less mucking around, really, especially when I'm using little strips of paper like this. It's just hard for me to line up the tape just right without it hanging over. So next I'm going to come in with just some splatters in gold. So this is gold Kaiser mist that I always use. I'm doing some fine sprinkles, and then I'm doing some bigger droplets just by loading up the nozzle and just splatting it. I really don't know how to how to explain how I do that, but I'm just sort of shaking it downwards towards the page and getting those bigger splatters. And then this is the Distress Oxide spray in Spun Sugar. I'm really enjoying this at the moment. And I do the same with that, some sprinkles and then some larger splotches. Not being careful about where I'm placing them, just being pretty random. Now once that's dried, I'm going to go in again with wet glue. Like I said, you could use a tape if you prefer, but I really want that kind of crinkly vellum look. So I'm just adding, again, adhesive just behind the centers of the flowers so it's not going to show through on the finished product. And I'm also popping some behind those ladybugs as well because they're just backed with paper. So popping my photo one, that's where it's going to go. It sits nicely there just in amongst all the flowers and not covering up any of those pretty ladybugs. Pulling in some of the other bits and pieces that I have in my little homemade kit here. So I really like that little doily. It doesn't really match the colours 100% right, but I don't mind. I like it. So I'm going with it. That title is from a thicker set called Get Together. I'm not sure which collection it's from, unfortunately, but it's just a foam thicker with gold foiling on the top. And now I'm just going to bring in a few bits and pieces from the Pebbles collection just to embellish. I'm not going to add very much because that cut file has so much going on already. I really don't want to. I was almost about to go ahead and embellish heavily, but I just really didn't want to take away from the cut file. It's really pretty. So I'm going to pop in a few stickers. I just pop in that little floral at the top. And then I will pop in this little picnic basket. We weren't there to have a picnic, but we were at the park, so I think it makes sense. And there's little florals coming out of the top of that basket as well, which I thought was sweet. Little cupcake also isn't really realistic, but I think it goes with a picnic basket, so I'm fine with it. This little piece, this whole page is actually kind of phrases that I made to go on cards, which I have been struggling to use. So I'm just going to tuck that thank you underneath my photo and use that floral to fill in that awkward gap below my title. Popped in that little high heart. I thought it was sweet. And then these bees, I have deliberately saved 3 bee stickers off this sheet to put on this layout because I knew I was going to use this whole page of florals, and of course you need some cute little bees when you're using lots of flowers, so just sprinkle those around. And I'm going to do the same thing with these little lady beetles, but I'm putting those behind the cut file rather than on top of it to create some variation. Little sunglasses, it was a sunny day, so I'm trying to use those up. I've got a lot of those left. And the little heart, and that's my layout finished. Don't forget to check out the COAPA Cutfiles Etsy shop and Facebook group. The links are in the description box below, and I'll see you next time. Bye guys.